Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Texas Homer here, Eric Nalin, and Nash Talks Texas. We might have Charlie here as well. He's having some technical difficulties, so we'll see. But it was a chill Kentucky game again. It was fun. Got a little weird, right? Third quarter, baby. But ultimately, we were able to pull it out. It wasn't a scary one at all. It's pretty enjoyable. So we're going to talk. First, we're going to talk Kentucky. Then we're going to, of course, talk A&M, and then some recruiting questions, and then your questions. So let's get to it, boys. Nash, I always want to hear your opinion because you do the Texas clips, meaning you watch the game like 900 times by the time you're done editing it. What was your overarching takeaway, kind of your thesis of the Kentucky game?
I thought Texas in the first half looked pretty solid. Jumped out to a pretty good lead. Then, kind of like you referenced here a little bit ago or just a second ago, third quarter inconsistency started to kind of get there. You started to see a little bit of with that new Boley, I believe was his last name.
Yeah, the quarterback.
You started to actually see some explosive pass plays, which that's pretty been alien for us Texas fans to be able to see that happen against us.
Yeah.
But then the fourth quarter, we went back to being a dominant Texas team, and really, in my opinion, this is probably the last few weeks has just continued to trend up in the run game, and this was probably the most dominant we've ever looked all year long.
Yeah, 100%. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was foreign to see Jahdae Barron with an assignment bust, and I saw it happening in real time too. He got so greedy, he wanted to come down and make a play. If he goes to that receiver and the ball gets tipped up, Jahdae's got to play on it. But I mean, that receiver was already taken out of the play by the other guys playing coverage underneath. So that was funny. Jelani McDonald, I think it was McDonald, had an assignment bust that he made up for it with the Superman interception later. But my main takeaway, and that's why I was trying to write articles left and right in the morning because I was just so excited about the run game. I love that physical domination. Trey Weiser, the only guy that felt like he needed to take care of the ball. I think he earned their trust with that game a lot more. They fed him quite a bit. I love that one series when all they did was run it, 15 times.
Sure.
Just utter domination to put the game away. Yeah, that third quarter was very weird, man. This team can get so out of whack mentally. It's inexplicable. I don't know how that happens. I mean, Jarrett Gibson comes in. It's like the Grandpa Simpson meme where he comes in, puts his hat on the rack, fumbles the ball, turns around, grabs his hat, and goes right back out the door. We didn't see him again. That was just a wild sequence with all the fumbles. Quinn was obviously playing through pain, but that doesn't explain some of what was happening. So they got to figure out that they can't have those giveaway quarters when they play Georgia. If they get to play Georgia again. But overall, love what I saw in the first half. Quinn was back to his normal self on some of those NFL throws. We saw a lot of those in September. He had at least 2 NFL throws. That Gunnar Helm touchdown had the group chat going wild. But it was good to see that. They just got to play more consistency. Defense had a couple issues, but they played very well again. So it's a good team win other than that third quarter.
Yeah, I rewatched it last night. I was like, what is going on, man? It was almost just like it was such an aberration and so weird that I couldn't even get upset with it. Coach, we're just talking about our top line thoughts of the Kentucky game. What do you think? You're muted, Coach. Still having issues with it?
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later. We got it.
I'll say this, man. The game that this really reminded me of is it reminded me of the Washington game. How we fumbled twice in the third quarter coming out, except for it was just different circumstances. It wasn't as tight going into the second half. We had a bigger lead to play with. But I was just watching this. I'm looking at this kind of the drive sheet. And I'm like, you know what? This does remind. We didn't even our offense didn't even see the field on the third quarter.
How do you correct that level of fumbling? Because it's not like they're not doing drills, right?
Well, so that's what I was thinking about yesterday. Like, Coach Choice has got to be sitting there thinking, like, what do I do? Is fumbling. That's one of those things where you just don't fumble. Like you just hold on to the ball, right? It's like it's not a matter of.
They talk about the fundamentals. Steve Sarkisian could teach you the fundamentals forwards and backwards. That one blue fumble where he barely broke the plane. I don't fault him there, man. He had nothing to protect the ball against. He was trying to make a touchdown there. The other stuff, I think Drew Kelson had a good point on the the post game broadcast where he says just the way he runs, he runs like a sprinter with the ball away from his body. He doesn't run like a running back where the ball is tucked underneath. You got 3 fingers over the cone, hand above the elbow. Keep it up high and tight. He runs more like a sprinter, and the ball is exposed that way. And Jared Gibson's, what do you explain that for? He comes in, the madness had already ensued, and then he just fumbles right away as well. So that was
laugh. It literally arced in the air. It was the most dramatic way to fumble too. It just shot out. They've also tried the social shame, make them carry the ball around all day or whatever at school and
stack of flour.
Yeah, it's like I don't really know what you do besides Choice just being like, guys, I really mean it this time. Knock it off. But I think that final drive was them being able to have put a ton of faith in Wisner.
Yeah, put their nose down and just beat an opponent.
Yeah. So as far as the comments, you're gonna have to pull up the actual live because for whatever reason, the past 3 days, StreamYard is not populating our comments to pull up. They're there on YouTube. So chat, we can see it. If you pull up the actual live and mute it, you can see the chat. But for whatever reason, StreamYard's tripping out and not showing us comments like the past 3 days.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun. Mr. 512, hook 'em. Jacob, hook 'em. And then Jacob also says, Nash out here doing the Lord's work, condensing the game for us. And then Blake Bryant, that was against a good physical front from Kentucky as well, very promising. I thought that they were physical, but I thought they were really half-assing it too. I didn't Kentucky, those gaps were incredibly wide. It just felt like Kentucky was kind of phoning it in. Not taking away from what we did. I thought we had an awesome blocking game, but that wasn't the Kentucky D-line trying their best. They seemed kind of reserved to their fate in that game, especially when you got to bench your quarterback. They were just kind of going through the motions at some level.
The new quarterback came in and gave him a shot in the arm, I felt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah,
he wasn't afraid to let it rip.
I'll say you could – it reminded – as much as I was a Shane Buechele guy back in the day, it reminded me of when Sam Ehlinger got put in the game versus when Shane – because the team was just flat when Shane was out there. Yeah. But when Sam was out there, you could actually you could see the Texas players they were just playing with more juice.
Yeah, and he made even some throws he didn't complete were nice throws, and so much that it's a young quarterback. Some of that stuff you don't throw as an older quarterback because it's risky. So he would surprise the defense a couple times because they're like, wow, he actually threw that with 3 of us around this guy. But he almost completed it a couple times too. So I think Kentucky's quarterback has a bright future. Of course, Florida, we've got the advantage of seeing a lot of young quarterbacks this season for us. But I think the SEC has some bright future guys that are going to be interesting. Eddie here, secondary got beat on some lazy defense on Texas. Texas will need to fix that for Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think it was lazy. I thought it was a little selfish, Jade trying to make a play. I wouldn't say they were lazy.
You even saw that with Malik Muhammad, too, on one of the plays.
Yep.
You could literally see him start to go, oh, crap, I need to get back there for that. And
then, but leading the SEC in picks, baby. We got the Trayvon Diggs disorder.
We're tied for number 2 in the nation.
Yeah, let them have that game against Kentucky, and that'll refocus them for sure. Jade Barron, the second he caught inside, he knew it. That's not a guy you even need to go coach up and tell him what he did wrong. He knows it before anybody. They'll be all right. You like to see those mistakes in a game like that than the higher stakes games they have coming out. Every game from here on out is huge stakes.
Well, hey, and you know what? If we're in a position where our best cornerback, a bad game is 1 reception for 43 yards. Hey, I'm gonna take that. I'll take that. Yeah. I like that.
And he didn't even that was to Barian Brown, man. If the quarterback would have put that not near the sideline, Barian's scoring there. So also Jade got lucky there too. Was able to catch up. Did y'all notice when I was rewatching last night? They were going after Gilbo a little bit. Did y'all notice that? He was getting targeted.
Gilbo actually made a nice play on the Barian Brown target.
Yeah, on the sideline one where he smacked it down. He didn't PI, but they were picking on Gilbo a little bit, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places to go. There's really nobody to pick on. Gilbo's been good this year. He's had, I think that was maybe one of his rougher games. Mississippi State was not to his standard, but for the most part, Gilbo's been really good too. They've been, but the whole secondary was just kind of an aberration. It caught me by surprise. I was like, whoa, what was that? We haven't seen that the entire year.
Yeah.
So like Nash said, if you get beat and it's 43 yards, that's you're not gonna. It's not worth dwelling on for too long.
Well, I think Barron too was like didn't realize that the young quarterback doesn't realize that he's Jahdae Barron. Sometimes when you're a good corner, you can be super lazy because the quarterback's just going to not throw your way. Well, a freshman quarterback doesn't know who Jahdae Barron is, and he's throwing that. And I think he surprised Jahdae a little bit with that, which I thought was interesting.
One thing that I really liked was that their run total. Now, some of this is also aided by a bunch of sack numbers, but Jamarian Wilcox, he busts out an 18-yard run, first run of the game, and then he has 50 yards total for the day. So defense, that it was the first really drive that Kentucky had. You could tell, like, in the middle of the drive, it was like, hey, we need to, we got a better standard here.
Yeah, it seems like all the big runs this year, and by that I mean like over 15 yards, have come on like the first or second series against Texas. That one was LaFau just has to settle down. He overran that badly. We've seen him overrun a few this year, and then they tightened right up. Yeah, I mean it's we need to talk about the pass rush a little bit more. Trey Moore, I think we're losing count of how many good games he's had in a row. Right, started back at Vanderbilt.
I was gonna say since Vanderbilt, man, he's been dominant.
Yeah, he's been on a heater since Vanderbilt, and he was playing well before that. We kind of knew it was only a matter of time before he broke out. But huge, man, he is so technically sound on playing these running quarterbacks. And guess what? That's going to be massive this week. Trey Moore's discipline playing these quarterbacks that run. He's been awesome. He's been awesome. Barron Sorrell, very good game, and then Colin Simmons, maniac. Ethan Burke got upfield a time or two, gave a lane for the running back or the quarterback to run out, find a receiver in the flat. He's got to play that tighter, can't create that lane. But for the most part, the edges played extremely disciplined and aggressive at the same time. You don't always, it's usually one or the other.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy for Trey Moore because early in the year, for people that was one of the frustrating things was to see some people go, what. Where's Trey Moore? He's out there. He's playing. Like if you're watching the game, right? He's like this close. This close to just getting a couple sacks, or he's making an impact, but it's just not showing up in the box score. He's causing an interception to get thrown to somebody. But then these last few games, man, it's just been getting put all together, and you're starting to see the guy that was kind of advertised to us.
Yeah, and his confidence too, man. Like on that rollout where he didn't bite on Bully. Like when you rewatch and just pay attention to Moore, his get off is super fast. He's incredibly aggressive in the run game. He knows what he's seeing, and now he's starting to get some of the concrete sacks too. So Moore's, like we said, since Vanderbilt, I think has been.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking since Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he's been like on fire and a dominant force. And then I was watching again, Colin Simmons, dude. Like his get off is. I mean, so many times I'm like, man, is that offsides? I'm like, no, he's just able to time it that well.
No, it literally can't get better. Like I was doing a video for Kieran, and I got so mad because Adobe did I had the Windows automatic refresh where it restarts your computer. I lost the project, and I was like, screw it, I'm not gonna. I'll just redo it at the end of the year. But I was looking, I'm like, holy crap, the amount of times that Colin Simmons he's sitting still. And then the next, so the ball's sitting still, ball moves. That's the first frame that you see Colin Simmons with. I'm like, you literally, on my computer, you can't, a 30 frame, it's 30 frames, right?
Yeah.
You literally cannot, you can't, you have to go frame by frame to even see if he's not getting offsides. He's timed it up to the little exact frame that the ball is being moved.
Yeah.
And that's just such superhuman level stuff that we're going to see. Colin Simmons is a very special talent that it's just like that. That's why you see tackles look like they haven't played football, because it's like they're literally trying to run out there. They can't. They're trying to drop in their pass set. They're like, what? Why is he over there?
Yeah, that's such a huge advantage because then their technique breaks down, and then you kind of got them on their heels. You can do what you want with them. Your power comes to bear more. Yeah, he's used his hands good a couple times in recent weeks as well. Knocking down the tackle's hands and fighting them off. Once he refines that technique with the natural gifts, he's going to be unstoppable. And I've been comparing him to Will Anderson since he was in high school. Will Anderson went 3rd overall. I think we're going to see something similar out of Colin.
We might, if Arch Manning comes back for a second year, we could easily see a situation where Arch goes number 1, Colin goes number 2.
Yeah. Quarterbacks. I think I think Arch will play 2 years, and then you'll have Lagway coming out, maybe Raiola. That's gonna be interesting to see. Maybe Nico. Colin's going. I mean, if he just keeps developing like this, and we know he will because he works. He's going to be a top 5 draft pick.
Well, and then not only that, but like this is defensive end is one of those NFL positions where they get paid.
Oh, yeah.
They get paid for the long run too. So
yeah, it's the opposite of what's going to happen with Anthony Hill. Although his ability to get after the passer is going to boost his draft grade, but they've diminished the value of linebackers, which hurts Anthony a little bit. Colin has the opposite effect where there's a priority for him. But yeah, Anthony. And I wrote this morning, they need to give that guy some running back carries so we can get some novelty exposure across the nation with a two-way player, just to blow up his profile. But Anthony's going to go in the next season as probably the highest profile player in college football on the defensive side, obviously not on the offensive side. But I can't think of another defender that'll have a higher profile next year than Anthony Hill, and he had another monster game Saturday as well.
Dude, he used a psychic attack on Brock Vandegrift. He didn't even touch him. That one where he ran up the A-gap and he just went down.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it was over for Vandegrift. I was like,
Crocodile Dundee goes like this with his hands and just like lays down the bull.
He doesn't actually have to hit people anymore. He just has to run really fast at them, and then
There's been a couple times where he just sat him down, like grabbed him by the shoulders and placed him on the ground. So let's just do it this way.
Well, I think what happened was they saw a freshman Anthony Hill sumo wrestle or not suplex dudes to the ground, and they're like, you know what? I got business decision to make.
That dude has one of the biggest separations between his off-field happy-go-lucky personality and his field personality.
Well, honestly, isn't that like one of the best ways to determine like an actual just like psychopathic killer? Because like it's one of those funny things. Like you look at Ndamukong Suh, right? He's out there like stomping on dudes' faces. Like he's like looks like one of the nastiest people you'll ever meet. And then like off the field, he's just like everybody that talks about him, they're like, oh yeah, he's like the nicest big teddy bear dude you'll ever meet in your life. And you're like, that guy? Yeah.
Look no further than Derek Johnson, man. He was an absolute terror on the football field. Was a man between the tackles playing for the Chiefs forever. And then off the field, he's as nice as it gets. I mean, just cordial, happy guy.
My favorite clip of Anthony Hill is the one from the recruiting. I think it was like the All-American game. He just absolutely lays the dude out, and he's like, "Oh, sorry." Like the microphone picks it. Like the guy hasn't even hit the ground yet. He's like, "Oh my bad. I'm sorry."
Oh man,
dude, he's funny. Before we keep going, y'all, let's hear a word from Andre the Lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
All right, let me check out these comments here. The only ones we're able to pull on StreamYard, unfortunately, is from Twitter. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. Have you used StreamYard in the past couple of days, Nash?
No.
Okay.
I try and do a little. I'm stubborn. I like to do things like free and all this stuff, so I use Discord and whatever.
Oh, is that what you do? I was gonna say. I just want to know if you're going through that problem. Michael Harges, Nash Texas Clips, best Texas YouTube channel. Kentucky fans were so done with Vandegrift after that self-sack. Yeah. When I was doing the analysis, I didn't do a video last week, but I still do all the analysis just so I know what I'm talking about. And, man, Vandegrift is not a good quarterback.
No.
And no.
It really makes you wonder why they started him over Boley.
Yeah.
Like, what did you see? Or what did you not see?
Yeah. That's why you can see some of these games they just don't have the quarterback to win. They can't beat Texas. Once Lagway was out, Florida had zero chance of winning.
Yeah.
Kentucky had very, very, very small chance of winning. Just that it's impossible. Texas cannot shoot itself in the foot enough times to keep these teams in the game.
Yeah, and they're still they haven't scored 20 in SEC play still. They only scored 7 actually on offense. So yeah, I heard people, they were mad because I didn't do the breakdown, and I would tell them privately in the DMs, I would tell them, I'm like, we're gonna win, and they're like, no man, you can't guarantee. I'm like, we're gonna win, guys. They literally can't score.
I mean, look, this was one of those games that I think a lot of Texas fans had set in their heads as this is going to be the toughest game because it's
Gonna be a
sandwiched
trap
between
game.
Arkansas and it was the trap game. And I was like, this is Kentucky. Like it's hard.
That argument made sense coming into the season, but that was
Yeah.
before we had any data on Brock Vandegrift. I watched that Georgia game. Oh my Lord, man. It's watched a couple others. He's just the best thing that guy has going for him is that he can run a little bit. Like he's just not going to threaten the field with the arm. No, zero passing attack. If you don't have any passing attack, you have zero chance against Texas because then it's too easy for them to defend the run. So it's no chance to win. And a lot of Texas has the advantages going into this next game too. Maybe not to that degree. I mean, obviously, Reed's a lot more dangerous, but Texas has done really well with these one-read athletic quarterbacks.
And if your best ability is to run a little bit, and like Homer said, you're getting knocked down without being touched by Anthony Hill, that's not good.
I mean, I would do the same thing, but I'm also not a quarterback at that level. But dude, you can see how much they trust their running back. They don't trust their running back pass protection because they had a guy on Anthony Hill, and Vandegrift was like, "Nah, I don't think we really do have a guy on Anthony Hill." Let's talk A&M, man. This is so exciting. I was not at school when A&M. I missed the cutoff like right there, so I did not see any A&M when I was in school. I actually have never been to a Texas A&M game. Nash, I'm sure you have growing up.
Nope,
you haven't either. You're a season ticket holder. Do you get them later on in life?
My first year being a season ticket holder was Steve Sarkisian. But
oh, for real?
I went to like a few games with my dad growing up. I mean, I was a huge Longhorn fan, just like growing up. But most of my memories of the Texas A&M game are watching at Thanksgiving with a bunch of Aggies in my family.
Oh yeah, I forgot you had Aggie. Eric, how many times have you been? You've never been? What is going on here? I thought
my town, Belleville, Texas, is it's a fairly country town. It is a country town, and a lot of Aggie fans. A lot of the move-ins, like me, were UT people. A lot of move-ins from Houston area, and so the natural rivalry between the friend group exists. So Thanksgiving was always hang out at somebody's house and try to keep your calm. But you'd have the house, split one side and the other. Yeah. But it would be an excuse for all of us guys to get back. Obviously, you see your families and stuff like that, but then we'd all get together, have some beers, and catch up, see how the year's been. But during the game, it would be intense. But yeah, I prefer just that, get to see my boys again. But no, I've never been. I think the last time I was in Kyle Field was to watch Garrett Gilbert play a playoff game. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was. I'm excited, man. Are you gonna be at Kyle Field?
I'm not going. It's my wife's birthday, and I'm not. I can't subject her to that on her birthday. We're gonna have family and friends over for her birthday, but really for that game too.
Yeah. That's. I'm excited, man. I know I make fun of the atmosphere because my logic behind it is like the atmosphere doesn't mean anything if you consistently lose at home. The atmosphere has to be a winning factor. Yeah. For me to say it matters. I don't being loud is not enough for me. But that being said, this week I'm putting that argument aside because I think it's going to be absolutely insane.
Hey, they beat Alabama. What year was that? 2021, 2022 at home? Yeah. 21, I think. Can't remember.
Also, I think that this year this is going to be as close to a neutral site game in Kyle Field as there will ever be. And I mean that by with this being so long, long departed of a game. Texas fans have been itching, and this would honestly kind of go both ways. If the game was in DKR first, this would be kind of the same thought. Fans from both sides are going to want to watch this game, right? And I've heard from a lot of Aggie fans, they're like, "Yeah, I'll sell my ticket," right? I'm taking that money and running, but
they're getting mad at each other. They're launching conspiracy theories of on the boards of people selling out ticket blocks and that UT's bought all the student section ticket. Just a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, it's hilarious to see the wild stuff going on. But it's going to be to me, the crowd is going to be close to as 50-50 as we're ever going to see in Kyle Field. This is just going to be, I don't know. This is going to be a wild game and a wild atmosphere.
I think it's going to be 80-20. It's just not that many. I can't see that many Aggies, giving up their tickets. I did thank Billy Lucci for letting me buy his tickets, but that was just a joke.
I'll say 30-70 if I have to put a number on it. But I'm saying this will be as close to as you'll ever see.
It's gonna be a wild scene. Yeah, I mean, I've been looking forward to this week since it was announced that Texas is going back to the SEC, and it was inevitable that this game would be renewed.
Yeah.
But, the matchups, once you get past all the pomp and circumstance, the matchups favor Texas like they have in pretty much every game so far this year. A&M has a path to victory, but it's going to require a lot of help from Texas.
Yeah, I think the only place that A&M has the advantage is run defense versus our rushing offense. Other than that, pretty solid. Now, A&M's a good team. Like, everything's like in the 30s and 40s for A&M, right? So, like, everything's solid, not elite anywhere yet, but also the only place that they're super sketchy is defensive explosiveness. They're like 130th in the country in giving up the big play, and they're in the hundreds on running and pass.
They're 70th in the nation as far as explosive plays goes, just in general. 20-plus yard plays, 48 given up. That's versus Texas with the third best explosive play offense. And then on offense, too, they're 83rd in the nation with 45 versus the best explosive play defense versus Texas.
They don't have any dynamic outside threats.
And it's the same. It's the same thing versus. Really, honestly, because they do have the advantage with the defense, but that's really kind of I don't know how much. I think that's more of like Texas just not being a good rushing team than giving them the advantage. But they have the.
That doesn't take into account recent trends either. If you're going on a trend line,
I mean, if you go for the last couple of days, last couple of games, Texas has probably been a little bit better. But A&M, they probably on paper, like, this is the closest that they have to having advantage is the rushing offense. But as we've seen from the Texas defense, this Texas defense, especially also against rushing quarterbacks, has been really good this year.
What I think is going to be interesting, like we said, like rushing defense for them is better than our rushing offense in yards per rush. They're like 31st in opponent yards per rush. I am interesting if we're trying to run on early downs, do they end up getting us behind the sticks? Because this defense is 4th in the country in standard downs. So they're constantly getting people behind the sticks.
Their D line gives them a path to victory. Their D line with maybe Quinn's ankle is worse than we think, especially with a week. He's playing. It's one thing to play through it with adrenaline,
exactly.
As it tightens up on you throughout the week. Maybe he's not. Maybe he lacks the necessary mobility. And their D line has a good game against the Texas offensive line. There's a path to keep this a low-scoring, ugly game. I do not expect it to be a very high-scoring game. But I just don't see how they're going to consistently move the ball. Now, their running back is good. Amari, what's his last name? Daniels? Yeah, he's a good player. They lost their number one guy who was really good.
Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah, he was good. But they just don't have the perimeter threats. So again, Texas can play the pass honestly, really take away Reed's first read, keep him boxed in like they've been doing all year long with their edges. The edge play is going to be huge for Texas yet again.
It's like the Taylor Green game is important there for how to play that.
Yep, Taylor Green. I don't see how A&M is going to consistently move the ball, but I do expect their defensive line to give Texas and Quinn Ewers some trouble too.
Well, yeah, another thing too is I think Marcel Reed is really not going to be able to live in the passing game how he's been living the last couple of weeks. He's an athletic guy that gets out of the pocket and that's where he kind of makes his plays. And when you're talking about some of these athletic edges that are like a Trey Moore that's been playing really smart and sound recently, that's going to take away like 0.5 seconds on your average time to throw. And that for a quarterback can almost be a lifetime. And
it's a lifetime for Reed too. He's one of the highest in time to throw.
Yeah, well, he's above 3. He's above 3 in every single game that he's played in, and it's not because he has an amazing offensive line that's just sitting just setting a pocket that he can sit back there and draw pictures all day. Marcel Reed, I don't think he's going to be able to have this. Like, if he has success passing, it's going to have to come from a different way than he's gotten it the last few weeks.
Yeah, super high average depth of target. So young quarterback head hunting, right, trying to throw deep the whole time. So that's going to add time in the pocket. And on top of that, he's second in the league in time to throw. So with our pass rush, he has great pressure to sack avoidance, right? Like, he's still going to somehow get out for most teams, probably not versus us, but there's going to be opportunities to get sacks and get them behind the sticks. But
a lot of NASCAR package.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, man. Just watching Colin Simmons, like putting him in the B gap and just doing all sorts of fun things, man. Like,
Well, and then when you have like Vernon Broughton out there too, and then Alfred Collins, it's just like when you get all these dudes playing at the top level, playing at their highest level, and getting them all in the field. That's a fun thought.
yeah. He flushes to the right side from what I've seen. Yeah, if he's right-handed quarterback. So will Quinn be at least 85% to go Saturday? I love the percentages, how we talk about injuries in football.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I think he's about 74. Like how we talk about it cracks me up. With an ankle, man, I don't know if it's not an MRI, man, but just for like typical running injuries and stuff, like it's still going to be bothering him on Saturday. It's just how it is. Like Eric said, when the adrenaline wears off is when it's going to be sketchy. And I don't know if they got him booted or something, but you're going to want to immobilize it because ankles you can mess up again really easily just by stepping too hard. So it'll be interesting to kind of see there. But some people have asked, do you go with Quinn or Arch? You go with Quinn.
I mean, like, look, I like Quinn because he's like, I don't think people understand how much of being quarterback is just being able to operate the offense efficiently, getting the offense into the right play, getting guys moved into the right spot. And a lot of that comes with experience and just kind of, getting general feel of the just also the offense that you're playing with at the time. Not saying that Arch isn't really paying attention or anything like that, but, it's just I feel like it's going to be different when you're standing on the field as one of the 11 guys. But, yeah.
He's got a lot more experience, and that's where his advantage over Arch Manning is simply an experience. But he earned that. There's a privilege to being first that Quinn has. That's why he's a starter now. But there's a big privilege for Arch following Quinn, and Quinn being the point man of helping build the program, as opposed to coming in when everything's already in place like Arch will have it, at least for the most part. Now they've got to fix some offensive lines in the offseason. That there's some issues. Restacking the roster, but the program is in a whole lot different shape than from when Quinn Ewers first took the reins.
I'm gonna love the theories though this week because it's the only guy that's ever gonna really have a true idea of how good Quinn is to go is the doctor.
Yeah,
the doctor coaching Quinn.
Yep. Yeah, Quinn's going to play regardless. I mean, there's just for draft stock, you have to play A&M. It's the last one of the season. He'll play in a wheelchair if he has to. That pass, Quinn had to Bond where he feathered it between the two defenders was a thing of beauty. Not a lot of people can make that throw. So that to me is the, no pun intended, the quintessential Quinn throw, like that we've seen from years. The ability to layer in the intermediate that we saw, like that's what, when you see Quinn throw those, you're like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. He had that, the pass to Helm in the end zone was a dot. Like Quinn made some really nice throws last week before we got cursed in the third quarter.
What really kind of like, because this has kind of been like a thing in our group chat about Quinn Ewers and the deep ball for the last couple of years. But it killed me because I'm like, man, I felt like he had some of his better deep balls in that game. And I'm like, either the defensive back is just making a great play, or they're just not getting called for PI. And I'm like, man, like Quinn has got to be sitting there going, what the hell do I got to do?
Dude, I think the accuracy was good, but I thought he was late on a couple of those. I thought he was just a tick late on them and allowed the DB to make a play. But the accuracy was a lot better than
throws it like 10 yards ahead. That was the one where I was like, these were catchable. And that's what I thought was the big difference.
Right. Yeah.
It was because the post was catchable. The one to Bond where he fell down in the sideline, I thought was catchable.
The one to Wingo.
Yeah. I thought he threw more catchable balls because normally we've seen it was just like they're like 10 yards ahead. The receivers they're like, come on, man.
The throw to Gunnar Helm was pretty nice too. That was a dot.
We got a $10 chat here. Sorry, Dennis, with the software, we're not able to pull up our UT comments here, unfortunately, but I'll pull it up. I'll just read it. Eric, first game since Oklahoma State 04. My 11-year-old girl pointed C4 out to me from section 4, row 6. Where's all the Kenny Baker can't recruit talk?
Oh man, they went a little dormant on us. We're a far cry from the spring, far cry from June. fans just have to let these guys get their feet wet, do their work. He had to come in and evaluate the guys he wanted. He's starting, way behind on the relationships. Johnny Nansen started way behind on the relationships. I think that affected Johnny Nansen's class as well. But once they get caught up, and of course Texas has the priority on it. Texas has known that they needed to go big on defensive tackle class this cycle. It's nice to have Texas, the full might of the school behind you as well. But man, this class is awesome. Sharma, I think, is probably the top guy on the board, the entire board. Got him. Charles is as gifted as anybody. Got him. And Bachu has an Alfred Collins sort of starter kit. Got him. One more would be nice. Then they'll hit the portal again. Got to do that with losing, Lole, Alfred, and Vernon and Norton. But yeah, I think people were selling Kenny short because they weren't giving him enough time. We saw the previous cycle with Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson came in the same time. Doesn't know anybody, doesn't know any of these recruits, doesn't know the people. It's not just the recruits you got to get to know. You got to get to know coaches, trainers,
right.
Family, who's in the circle of trust that's going to help the kid make the decision. You have to earn those people's trust as well. There's a lot of people to know. It's not just go in and meet Ryan Wingo. You need to meet the whole fan and earn trust. It takes time. So we're seeing them do well a lot on these recruitments that take longer to play out because it gives them more rope to actually meet everybody and earn trust. So. Yeah, I have no problems with Kenny Baker. I think he's also helped himself out quite a bit by Alfred Collins having a very big year. Alfred Collins is the number one ranked, at least by PFF, defensive tackle in the country, I believe. So he's playing very good ball. Vernon Broughton's having his best year. Lole's having a bit of a rebirth. After breaking out early in his career. So Baker's really helped himself out. I don't think we're going to hear much chatter of that. But, pretty much any narrative, the fan narrative, always gets blown to pieces. You can almost just always go the inverse of what the fan narrative is and feel confident. We saw that with Terry Joseph and Blake Gideon can't coach.
Jeff Choate, remember Choate?
Choate can't recruit. Choate can't coach. Choate turned out well. PK needed to be fired after year one. Sark's never. If you win 8, if you go 13-12 in your first 2 years, you don't have it. He's not the guy. Come on, man. It's about judging their competencies, applying context wherever you can. That's why we spend a lot of time trying to get to know every little last detail we can, because all these are puzzles. Get as many pieces as you can. It's easier to put the puzzle together.
I love how the staff has gone about continuity. Like Steve Sarkisian has been very accountable in the way that he's, just gone about his time here at Texas. He's consistently said, look, I know how I'm very confident in our ability to go, build a winning program. Right now, we may be 5-7, we may be 8-4, but hey, the good stuff is coming, right? You just got to trust in the process. And he never wavered, right? When Texas has a 113th ranked pass defense, he doesn't go out there. He doesn't go fire Terry Joseph. He doesn't go fire Blake Gideon. And what do you have? The next year you have the best pass defense in all of America. He doesn't fire a PK after we have probably one of the most abysmal run defenses I've ever gotten to watch in a Texas on Texas uniform. And the next year we followed up with an amazing one.
Yeah, he realized that these positions were at a talent deficit. The roster was at a talent deficit because he was dealing with the same problem on his side of the ball. It's like, he got the benefit of the doubt being the head coach because he gets to prioritize his guys first. That's why they had to go huge on that 2022 offensive line. They went big in the portal, getting Quinn. Like we said, safety was really the last position on the roster to truly get overhauled. And when they overhauled it, they really overhauled it. And now all of a sudden it's a team strength. And that's no surprise. It's not a coincidence. So these guys were always good coaches, but, even good coaches need the right pieces.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like with previous staffs, they wouldn't have even had the time on campus to even get to this point.
Yeah. Sorry, his number one strength is he's a problem solver. Whatever the issue is, he goes and solves it. Now, that doesn't mean a new problem. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. You fix one and another one pops up. We've kind of seen that in the past, but every time one pops up, he knocks it right back down.
It's like that kid spilling milk. Every time he leans over to clean up, he spills another one.
Drops it. We have a super chat, but before we hit that one, Jacob, let's hear about Laura Baker, the best realtor in the world.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512 or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
Once again, sorry we can't pull it up, Jacob, but I will read it aloud. Jacob Woodyard. But what about Jaheim Otis? Hearing lots of positive buzz on the internet.
What's the positive buzz? That, like, what internet? Twitter?
The
What's
internet.
Yeah, I don't know what he's hearing. I haven't really heard anything on
Interwebs.
him. Yeah, there's a couple names I have heard. A cornerback, a running back that would excite everybody. They're not in the portal yet. Jaheim Otis, I mean, obviously they need a D tackle. They would have to have a very good understanding. And Sark, Banks, those guys still have internal information on all these guys that are on the Alabama roster. So if they make the move, that'd be great. Obviously, he's leaving Alabama, and Texas or Oregon, schools like that, Ohio State are going to be the top contenders. He's not going to, there's only about 3 or 4 schools that could even afford a guy like Jaheim Otis. So, I expect Texas to be very active, but he would have to, if they feel comfortable about how he fits in the culture. We're kind of past the days of Sark taking these risks. They turned down a kid this past cycle that they didn't feel was a good fit. Actually, a couple guys. So if they feel like he's a good fit, they'll go for it, but they're not going to reach either. Now, that is one position where they're more inclined to reach just because your options are so much more limited than a wide receiver or running back or whatever. But haven't heard anything too tangible yet. But the portal's going to get absolutely nuts here in the couple weeks.
Did any of our risky players work out? Did any of them work out?
I can't,
if they did stick, we don't have to name them. But I'm saying, I
don't mind naming a Jai Hall, Jalil.
But he didn't stick. I'm saying if someone did successfully stay, I don't want to name them. But I feel it feels like all of our reaches were not solid, and so we kind of learned that lesson pretty quick.
Yeah, the roster's in a lot different place than it was when he was taken. You kind of understood it at the end. I said the same. Fans were getting excited because they saw a Jai Hall's one-time 5-star status. I'm like, look, this guy's got about a 10% chance of making it. But you understand why, because the roster talent was so much poorer than it is now. But D tackle, they are in dire straits, and you got Arch Manning for 1 year guaranteed. I think it's going to be 2. I think everybody behind the scenes thinks it's going to be 2, but you can't squander any of these years with Arch Manning. So that, the fact that you have Arch Manning should give you confidence that they're going to do everything they can to address defensive tackle. The goal's not going to be to win 10 games. The goal is going to be to, make a spirited run in the playoffs. There's going to be no stone unturned when it comes to improving the roster. Every position outside of quarterback is going to be, might be addressed. They got a lot of needs. You've got a lot of articles over on IT recently. I recently wrote about offensive, defensive portal needs. That's based on some of the conversations I've had.
Also, I don't know, sir, if Jonah Williams is anything that we think he's going to be, I don't think we're going to need too much help at safety.
Well, the problem is that safety is it's such a cerebral position. You're seeing, Jelani McDonald will have as talented as Jelani is, and Jelani and Jonah are not as different as people will think. Jelani is a freak.
Jelani is one of my favorite football players on this team.
Yeah, but these cerebral positions are always going to be a concern. Like Anthony Hill wasn't even really ready to play off ball until midway through his freshman year. I'm really excited about Elijah Barnes, but it's probably going to be a similar story where how soon are you able to play? When you're up the middle, center, not D tackle, but center, quarterback, and not running back, linebacker and safety, the game comes at you a whole lot at a different speed. But yeah, Jonah will play a lot as a freshman, but I don't know if you're going to see him. They got to get Taft back. I assume Taft is coming back for the same reason we saw on Saturday. He's a spirited tackler, but having physical intent is not the same as being physical. So I think they got to have him back. Makuba's going to be a loss, but hey, they're
Derek
improving.
Williams is at least back.
Who's that?
Derek Williams.
Yeah, but we're not going to know how good he's going to be
Healthy,
until August.
Well, because you never know, like Jonathan Brooks, it took
Right.
him a while to get back.
Yeah, Derek Williams, there's got these injuries happen at a time where Texas is going to be flying blind on what to expect for them going into next year. But safety is going to be in a good spot talent wise. Taft and Jelani are going to be the best duo in the country, assuming Taft comes back. And Makuba, if they want to go portal, Makuba's going to give him a great story to tell. He was a bit of a reclamation project after a sensational freshman year at Clemson. He kind of got lost in the shuffle. Comes home to ATX. Starts. What's he at? Four picks now. 4 picks in a relatively limited snap count is quite impressive. But they're going to be aggressive at portal. The names I've heard that are looking to go in that I'm sure Texas would have interest in would excite fans. But still ways to go on that. It's always delicate to talk about too because there's a lot of kids ready to play too going into next season.
Yeah, the fun new world of NIL, man, and roster management. Oof.
Yeah, I don't envy them.
I don't either. All right, so Ashley asks, if we lose to Texas A&M, which is not possible, but in that alternate reality, are we still in the playoff? You wrote a piece about this.
Yeah, I wrote a piece yesterday. It was well received. You should go check it out. I think it was free. Yeah, it is free. Go over to Inside Texas and just hit the news tab and scroll down and you'll see, it's first things first. Texas is in. The losses of Ole Miss, that meltdown in Gainesville, and Alabama's no-show in Norman assures that Texas will be in. But you still want a chance at that bye week, especially on a hobbled ankle with Quinn. Bye weeks, a month apart, always come in handy. And who doesn't want to play Georgia again? I know there's some battered fans out there that are probably already not looking forward to that, but I sure as hell want to see that. I know Sark wants to win it. Sark's goal has been to win the SEC, and I think that's goal number one. But he feels like to win goal, the big goal is got to get that one first. So get that, beat A&M. And nobody wants to live on Twitter for the next year if Texas beats A&M or if A&M beats Texas. We don't. Nobody wants that.
Especially if we actually do anything of relevance later on in the year, because then A&M will just, de facto claim all of our accomplishments because they beat us.
Yeah.
Dude, OU's been cracking me up. They're like, see, Texas, that's how you get a ranked win. It's like, we have 2 ranked wins, you have 0. I was like, well, we beat you, so we claim your ranked wins now.
Yeah, Twitter was, so Twitter now has like the For You and the ones you actually follow. So sometimes I make the mistake of going to the For You and see
don't go there.
What dumb people Elon Musk puts before me.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Oh, so that is a good look, and it's a lens into the fan mindset. The world was ending the other day for OU, and now they think they're the cock of the walk. They're back, and they've got the same problems that they had 4 days ago.
They're treating Bama like it's Bama. That's not Saban's team, guys. Like they're going off of 5 years ago. It's like, dude, we beat Bama. It's like they were 7th in the country, guys.
Yeah, you beat. Did you see ESPN FPI still has Bama number 4? They created an algorithm that doesn't to measure the best team that apparently doesn't count for losses.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's wild.
But
that Alabama team lost to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's not
and Ole Miss is number 6.
Yeah, 3 losses. What the hell are they doing, man?
Yeah, it's
Tennessee's number 8.
And they wonder why ESPN hears all this SEC bias. Their
SEC
algorithm.
Power Index. That's what it needs to be called from now on.
I like it, man. Keep them politic. Remember the broadcast when Test Story just went on that weird SEC rant where he was like, "No one's like the SEC and the Big Ten can't compete." And I was like, "All right, I get that you're ESPN guys and you have the deal," but I was like, that was just strange out of nowhere and clearly politic, and it was funny. Man.
I was like, hey, when I saw that on the every play, I thought about putting that entire rant in there, but I was like, man, Joe, like if you had done that maybe like just 2 or 3 years ago, I think people would have been like, oh yeah, here's this really just authentic rant about the SEC.
Yeah,
but no, now it's like, Joe. That was a great attempt at a Christmas bonus right there.
Dude, it was like he was running for office. And the funniest part is whoever was doing color or whatever next to him didn't even bite. They just stayed silent and he had to go. And anyways, here's the run. It was so awkward, dude. Because even his partner, you're supposed to yes and be like, yeah, dude. But even his partner just stayed so quiet, which is how they punish each other for not saying the correct things. It's funny.
Yeah.
It was that was super weird, man. Something about okay, Eric, not sure what Magnolia is like, but in El Campo living with an A&M loss for a year is brutal.
Yeah. Well, now I'm in Montgomery. There's a lot, of course, I'm only maybe an hour to College Station. So it's a lot of Aggies around here. Surprisingly, a lot of LSU fans too. But yeah, I definitely went to the local bar, Watering Hole, in my UT Inside Texas stuff to watch the A&M game the other night. Had a lot of fun. Yeah. No, we're definitely in the minority UT fans around here. But yeah, who cares? I don't care.
I'm in North Texas. We're all good up here, but actually, we got to deal with the Sooners up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sooners up there. I remember driving through like Sherman, years back, and it was all OU. Like, I mean, I understand we're close to the border, but you're still in Texas. What the hell is going on?
It's so strange to me. Like, you pay taxes, like your money goes to the Texas system, like all universities here. So it's so weird to me when you're like, you're from Texas, lived in Texas, you didn't go to school there, right? Whatever that counts you in. But it's like, why are you supporting another state if you don't have to? You get what I'm saying?
Well, because they don't. Because living in Oklahoma is that bad. There's literally just that much. There's that much of nothing to do. Like, hey, look, there's a plane to my left. There's a plane to my right. Nothing but Oklahoma planes.
But it's weird. It's weird when Texans do it. Like, you're from DFW. You didn't go to OU, right? Like, there's no tie there. There's no family tie or anything. And then you support OU. It makes no sense to me. I'm like, dude, support A&M, support Baylor, support somebody in the state.
Support SMU.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But literally support. It's so weird. I don't get that. Like, when they're like, I'm an LSU fan, no ties to the state of Louisiana. I'm like, dude, you have plenty of options in Texas. Pick one if you don't like UT. It's weird.
We got any recruiting questions this morning?
Honestly, not a ton. It was more of a statement of like, bring Justice Terry to me. Which I think
I like the comment I saw, no justice, no peace.
Yeah. Yeah, that's solid.
You can ask Homer. I am literally the last person to be asking any recruiting questions. Like somebody
Natch does not like
they'll literally put a top 50 name in the chat in the group chat, and I'll be like, "Oh, is that dude good?" And they're like, "Yeah, I guess."
Right. That's a smart way to be a fan, because it's all recruiting is
so flippant now.
Yeah, all it is. Well, yeah, that's part of it. But that, when it works in your favor, like Michigan. I saw Michigan fans ticked off at some kid the other day for visiting a school. I'm like, you just flipped the number one prospect in the nation.
Yeah.
They said that kid's not loyal. I'm like, you just flipped Bryce Underwood.
Yeah. Dude, the logic.
The one that broke me was Caleb Von Chison when he faxed 2 letter of intents to both schools, and Wade to do like the actual signing. Like,
that one broke me because he had committed to Texas. I heard all about his official visit. He had a wild official visit.
Yeah, when that one happened, I'm like, I'm waiting for them to sign. All right, screw it.
Oh, see here, this is a guy that knows loyalty right there.
Born in Oklahoma, come over here. See, now the inverse of what I said, I'm down. If you're not from Texas, you can, it just can't be the opposite.
It can't go the other direction.
Yeah, you can be a fan of Texas. I don't care if you're from the Middle East. You can be a fan of Texas.
And you know what? Oklahoma needs all the money they can. I'm okay with donating charity.
Yeah, it's what do we have? The funniest one was Nash with recruiting when we talked about a kid flipping. Nash didn't know he committed, and then we told him he flipped. He got mad within that 3-second frame of finding out the kid existed and then flipped.
That was like the Chris Farley gift. He was looking up and he's smiling.
I was pumped, and then I'm like, and then it was an instant like, well, shit. This is why. Excuse me, but I'm like, this is exactly why I don't do this, right? Like, I don't get involved because now I just got happy.
Yeah. The recruiting ride is not for everybody. The ones that crack me up are the recruits that want to win the game, so that it improves recruiting, rather than the ones that want good recruiting so it improves the game.
Yep.
I love like somebody, I forget who said this, but I wish I could give them credit. But they're like, whenever you see a guy say I'm 100% committed, that dude's solid as a rock. If you see him say I'm 1,000, 10,000, 1 million, 1 million, whenever the more zeros you see past 100, the less committed he is.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like the people on social media that talk about how great their life is every day. Their life sucks. Their
Dude,
life is terrible.
Anytime I hear
the good people with good lives, they're on Twitter.
Yeah, they're not on social media.
They don't
I'm envious
they don't
of
give a shit about that.
they the recruiting that the 17-year-olds can pick up the recruiting jargon so well. Like, I'm solid to Texas. They showed how I'm going to fit in this scheme. I see what they're building over there. Like, there's like recruiting interview bingo that you can play that like they're going to get. Like, I don't know how Eric and Justin do it, because you have to like pull tangible information, but real information, and they'll stonewall you with these vagaries if you let them.
The real information from recruits comes earlier in the process. That's when, like, January is the most important month to recruiting, as far as I can tell. Like, because that's when they're open, they're honest, and you learn as much about them as possible. And a lot of times that stuff will come back, yeah, but this is what he said before he knew how to politic it.
Yeah.
But then as time goes on, a lot of times getting quotes is just service to the readers. We're actually trying to get information from a number of other people. You can't just go by what recruits say. That's for the board, and then the insider notes are going to come later as we get them. Yeah.
They asked too about Cade Phillips. Any word on old Phillips?
No, he was supposed to come in. I had a source on it that said 60-40 LSU. That felt like if he did come in, that dynamic might be able to flip. His dad, huge UT fan, but he's going to let his son make his own decision, which, I'm on board with. You raise your kid to make these decisions. Yeah. Right now, it's just, Terry Joseph is kind of behind Corey Raymond as far as reputation. I think Raymond has done a decent job of selling Cade on that reputation. Now, context would point us to maybe that reputation is a little outdated. The way that Corey Raymond was able to recruit throughout all those years and make a name for himself, that field, that world doesn't exist anymore. And right now, Terry Joseph has the best corners in the country. However, Raymond does have that reputation, and he's coached up a lot of guys that went in the first round, second round, and I think that's what really has Cade's attention. But good player. I'm not sure he's a 5-star, but definitely good player, length, athleticism, a lot of raw tools for Raymond to coach up. And we're gonna, Cade's gonna be a really good example to teach us how great of a coach Corey Raymond is.
Yeah, I feel like the Corey Raymond aura was like 5-6 years ago, wherever it felt like the heaviest.
Probably even longer than that.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm trying to think who was going to – I think his name came up as a Texas possibility, because he had – the writing was kind of on the wall at LSU for a while. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, they've got Caleb Chester. First of all, Caleb Chester is one of the most underrated corners in the country. They prioritized him above Cade Phillips as a corner throughout most of the cycle, just to give you an idea of the internal evaluation on Texas. And then Grayson Littleton was a great get. Cade's got a lot of tools and a lot of upside. Great kid. I really enjoyed talking to him. I think he had to make that visit to have a chance of flipping him. However, because he was a commit, he was very familiar with the school, has relationships in place. A flip would be very surprising to me, but not impossible.
Do you fault Texas for recruiting Cade as a safety at first, or do you not think he's a corner?
No, I think he can play corner. He's just so long and so athletic. Yeah, for sure. And I think from a physical standpoint, I think he can become a pretty physical corner. I don't think he would be a very physical safety. So I can definitely see corner. I think corner probably should have been the evaluation the whole time, but I don't fault them for having their evaluation and giving it to him honestly. In fact, I respect it. They're honest with their evaluations, because they know if they get you on campus for one reason, but you thought you were coming for another, then you're just going to be a ticked off player. It's bad for the locker room. It's bad for culture. So that was their eval, and they ended up coming around to corner. But I think that did hurt their chances a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah. Look, that goes into that accountability that I was talking about earlier with Steve Sarkisian, where we have that continuity that we have now. Sark, he's going to tell you exactly where you stand on this team. There's not going to be any secrets hidden from you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, and if you leave and you create a deficiency, or you don't come on the class or whatever, he's going to accept that. He's going to accept the results of what happens from that, and he's going to go and try and make the best team out of it.
Yeah, Terry Joseph caught some flack for being straight up honest with Jabbar Muhammad when they were looking for him, when they were pursuing him in the portal. Like, hey, you got to come in and compete. Well, I mean, what's he going to tell Jabbar, that he's going to start over who, his cousin? You can't tell them that, right? And is he going to start over, Janae Barron? They know that they're going to move Gilbo to star at that point, and Barron's going to play corner more. You lie to that guys, you lie to these guys just to get them in the boat. It's going to be bad for culture. It's going to be bad for the locker room.
And it's going to be bad for getting other guys a little later because these players, they talk to each other.
Oh, they all talk, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then quick rapid fire. Any chance on Pettijohn? I think we put something out. Yeah, that was just a hard no. Dorian Brew.
Not likely, but haven't entirely ruled it out. Not likely.
Okay. Zion.
He had to visit for that to happen. No, that was just Bo Davis' relationship. The kid went where he had the best relationship, and Bo, Bo was finally set to recruit well at Texas had he stayed.
I know, man. Damn, that was.
Hey, I would not trade. Bo wouldn't have Mbachu in the class. Bo wouldn't have Sharma in the class, and Bo wouldn't have Myron Charles in the class. So it's a wash. It's a wash.
Yeah. But I liked Brandon Brown. Talk
About
dancing bear, man.
I just like all these names flying around.
I like Brandon Brown too, but is Brandon Brown better than Myron Charles? I mean, it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good here. Chad, I don't think we missed anything too major. Good stuff. All right, I'll be back on tomorrow with Paul. We're going to really deep dive into Texas A&M. You'll know that team inside and out, what they're good at, what they're not good at, where Texas matches up. And I think I agree with Eric when he says it can be likely a low-scoring game unless Sark breaks out the schematic attack, which is what I'm really hoping for.
Or what if yours is 94.2%?
That's true. If we got to get the injury percentages right. They're in the lab right now tweaking percentages. But it should be an interesting game, man. It's going to be fun. This week's going to be great. I'm really excited, man. We're lucky to have this back. And
I just got an update from Quinn's doctor. 81.67%. The exact percentages.
That's going to be rough, man. That's going to be rough. Fans, thank you guys. Eric, Nash, thank you guys. And then I'll see you guys again, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Hook 'em.